week in gaming. Bethesda bends the knee as Asher Shawarma beats them into submission, and Todd Howard announces all the games, all the things are coming. Nintendo says, that's my money, you ain't getting none, and so much more. This is the Nerd Cave News, and I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined along with my good friend and co-host, Derek to the Daniel. Derek, how you doing, my friend?
Doing wonderful, my man. It's been a good week, been an interesting week. Some old demons have reared their ugly head too, coming back that we thought were long gone, that wouldn't see the light of day. But here we are. We are ending the show on a positive note by talking about some actual gaming news by Bethesda, basically announce vomiting all their future slate plans.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, we've gotten this once before when they announced originally Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfall. And it's like, I understand, because I feel like Xbox is trying to over communicate right now because of everything that's going on.
They're trying to be very transparent by saying, hey, we know we had to do a lot of necessary but also unnecessary things for our business to survive, but also it almost feels like, Wizard of Oz, don't look at the man behind the curtain. It's like, don't pay attention, like sleight of hand, like don't pay attention to all the, the mistreatings and all this stuff going on, but games.
Yeah, it's like dangling the keys for the baby to stop crying.
Hey, Gears of War's out in a few months. Gears of War's out in a few months. Come on. Focus on
it. It's very true.
Halo Campaign Evolves out soon.
Tuesday. Going to play it Tuesday, Derek. Going to play it Tuesday. I finished Batman. So Tuesday, we're going to be jumping into Halo Campaign Evolved. I am excited about it. It did go live.
I know reviews have been dropping today, so.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's pretty good, but it's not like groundbreaking.
Yeah.
But it also had some launch troubles.
Shocker.
For the people that got like the whatever edition and everything, I don't even let's see, what was it? Premium owners, they were locked out at launch, so you had to pay like $20 additional to like get the game early, and they were
that always goes over well.
Yeah, they were getting the dreaded "you're too early" screen on the consoles and everything. So, Anna, what's up? We're talking about all the video game news that you need to know, and we're glad that you're here. So yeah, next Tuesday we're jumping in regular release day for it, and we're gonna see how it's going.
You know what else drops on Tuesday? Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1, the movie, on Crunchyroll.
So, Derek, that brings us to our next segment. And
set it up perfectly.
Because Derek sucks.
Now, you see, you don't have to lead with all of this. You could have
because Derek sucks so much, y'all. Okay? We normally do what you playing, all right? You can ignore what is on the screen right now, except for Derek and I, and imagine that this is Eat Sleep Anime, because we're gonna do what you've been watching for this segment, because one, we already know Zach has been playing Vampire Survivors, not Vampire Survivors, V Rising. I always get those two. I have played a good bit of Vampire Survivors. V Rising. I finished Lego Batman. I've not touched Death Stranding 2 in like a few weeks though.
What's wrong with you? Are you okay? You have a fever?
I just been like sitting on the couch watching anime and playing Death Stranding. I want to be in the game. You know what I mean? I want to be locked in. So that's what I've been playing. I finished Lego Batman on Tuesday. Really good game. 4 out of 5 stars. 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
So, yeah. I was actually playing it last night, doing all the little challenges, trying to get to 100%.
Do some cleanup.
Yeah, because I really didn't do a lot in the world. I just went through the story. And I have to say, before we get into what you've been watching, I feel like they did a heck of a good job of creating a story that makes sense of the Batman lore that we've gotten over the last, God, this is crazy to think, last 40 years.
Wow. Yep.
You know, close to 40 years. So 30, 37 years, 89, even like back in the 66, they even reference like Adam West Batman and all of that. So they did a really good job. I think it tells Batman in a probably the best way that's been told in a very, very long time. So
Yeah.
very excited about that. So Derek,
Mm-hmm.
we are now in what you've been watching, and we started watching a new show, and this show is
Yep.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
It is just all like it draws you in. It makes it like, oh, this is going to be, you know, just simple, you know, it's family, all of this. No, it's going to pull the heartstrings. It's going to gut you like a fish and feast on your innards. Smeagol is going, he's having a heyday of bashing the brains out of the fish. Okay. So what show are we talking about, Derek?
We are talking about Jadugar, a witch in Mongolia. And, you know, we had talked about, you know, I talked with you about last week about how we really haven't, you know, because there's not been any like continuing shows that we can do, like, you know, how we did My Hero and Spy Family and, you know, JJK and all that kind of stuff throughout the seasons. And I'm like, there's really nothing, you know, that you like any continuing anime outside of that we both watched. You watched Mushoku Tensei, I haven't watched it yet. And I've seen some shows that you haven't yet. So it's like, what can we do? And we both, you know, I talked about Jadugar being one of the new shows I was going to pick up for the summer season, and it intrigued you as well. And it's done by, you know, I think what also helps is it's done by Science Saru, who animates Dandadan as well. So, you know, you could see some similarities in the animation styles, kind of. You know, Dandadan's a little bit different, but this, you know, and I can't remember too much about last year, but this year in particular has been seeing more anime do multi-episode drops, like for the first, like for the premiere. And you know, some of it's just like cool. I get a treat. You know, I get a present. Some shows drop 2, 3, 4 episodes on the first week, and I'm like, cool. You know, it's like Christmas again. But this one, I'm glad they did drop 2 episodes because, like you said, the first episode, they, you know, it's like just introducing the world, introducing the characters, setting up, you know, the main character. I think it's Satara. Double check me on that one. I think it is Satara is like the main character. But you know, it's a beautiful, vibrant world. You know, and you know, pretty much it gives you like Aladdin vibes, just a little bit. You know, with like the streets and you know the people running about, like just trying to make a living, like you know, trying to survive, get a meal, that kind of thing. And then you know she gets captured, and you know she's like, all right, we're gonna have you go in, you know, be sold off essentially to the prince of the kingdom, and she does not want any part of it. But then she gets to know the prince, and it's like, and like the people that you know his pretty much his royal court, and she's like, maybe it's not so bad here. Maybe I can learn some things. You know, I just don't, this doesn't need to be my entire life. You know, I do want to go out and see the world, type of thing. And you're like, okay, cool. And then it sets up some things at the end of episode 1. And yeah, it goes downhill from here. And you know, when you say Mongolia, yeah, it's a Mongol invasion. And this takes very much in like episode 2, like it goes kind of JJK for a minute because some of these characters that you get introduced to in episode 1, yeah, don't get attached is all I'm going to say. Just saying. And
yeah. And yeah, I think that's one of the hard things about this, because episode 1 and a good chunk of episode 2, you get attached, you see this family, and you were correct, it is Satara.
Thank you.
You see her journey because she's been orphaned and everything, and she becomes part of this family. And the way that they show her journey, because she's sold as like a slave, like she's essentially a slave and everything, but like she's the value of knowledge, I think is done so well in this show, because it's the value of knowledge is shown on both sides of the coin,
Yes.
because the Mongolians, they're after knowledge as well in Sus.
Yep.
And but their ends are different. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
the reason why is totally different, and their means about going about gaining knowledge is different. And
The
seeing,
Mongols pretty much take a page out of General Thrawn's book when it comes to knowledge.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And the way this is set up, it reminds me a lot how, even though Vinland Saga is a fictional work, it's still based around points in history that are actually
Yep.
things that happened. Same thing
Mhm.
here. We're in 1213 AD.
Yeah.
So we're actually getting the Mongol invasion of Persia,
Mhm.
and Genghis Khan's son and Genghis Khan are part of this invasion and everything. So,
Yeah.
but dude,
It's I was
ahead.
gonna say, and again, you see the brutality because I mean, think for reference points, if you want to know how the Mongols do when they invade, just play Ghost of Tsushima. Just saying, because it is
Yeah.
like when I'm seeing things like when they're taking over the town and this and that, I'm thinking, oh man, this is straight out of Tsushima. Like I already have seen this before, and like this is very accurate, and I love it because Tsushima was very accurate to the invasion of Tsushima Island.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that I loved about these first two episodes, it's like, yes, you are going to feel feelings. Like
Yep.
there's so much you're going to feel, from highs to lows, even some, when I say mids, it's just like you're getting sort of an everyday situation
Yes.
in this world and everything. But the art is
Hmm.
absolutely beautiful. Like the characters, and I think this is one of the reasons it kind of lulls you into this. All the
Yeah.
characters are more rounded. Like you don't really have any sharp edges to the character designs.
True.
So when the Mongolians show up, you're like, how bad is this going to actually be? And you're like,
Right.
holy crap. Okay, this is really bad. But, and it's like you're just like, whoa, that was not what I was expecting from this art style. And it really reminds me of like Samurai Jack, with the way that they don't use like the outlines on the
Yes.
characters and even the environment and everything. So it makes it where it feels, when I say realistic, like it's like you would see stuff in like real life, but it has a very
Correct.
just warm, Amy was talking about this. It feels very warm, like they drew it on, like not just like a white piece of paper. Like everything was like on a warmer background, so everything
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
like it's kind of like glowing, kind of like how with Batman the animated series they did it all on like black paper, so everything
Right.
felt darker. It feels like the opposite for this.
Cool. Yeah, that is very true. So, and again, episode 2 will make you, like you said, you will feel things in here, and it will make you, yeah, like you said, it feels like very warm, and that is portrayed in the first episode. Like you're thinking, okay, this is going to be maybe different, because I mean when you read the synopsis, and then you watch the first episode, and like, okay, maybe this is not going to be as dark as it could be, and then episode 2 says, nah, nah, we're gonna get you. So, and like the tonal differences in those two episodes is very distinct, and like is very telling of how this world is going to be. The only question I have is like when it says a witch in Mongolia, it's like, okay, when they're talking about knowledge, she's expanding her knowledge. It's like, because the term witch can be very subjective. This is like, is she actually going to learn magic, like Freerin magic,
Yeah.
like witch at Atelier magic, or is it just going to be like she gains knowledge and it's like witch?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of, I want it to be magical in that sense, but
Yeah.
I think it might be more grounded, where like she might be something with medicine, or um with like the Persian side of things. Like they were very mathematical, and that's one of the the
Yeah.
reasons why it's like her understanding like these mathematical things, which would lead to a lot of the big things that we, like the Pythagorean theorem literally came from the Middle East and everything. You think it's for Pythagoras, but it's not actually. So it's like all of these things you're starting to see, and it's just like, okay, is that why she's a witch? Is like she has this knowledge that would be seen by other people as otherworldly, if that makes sense.
Especially for her status too. You know what I mean? Because people in her status don't get that privilege as royalty. Yeah,
and y'all need to go watch it. It is so the music is beautiful, and just the juxtaposition between episode 1, where you see this beautiful town and just how lively it is. Like, I think they capture that so masterfully. And then episode 2, when they're coming out of the town and you're seeing it going back and forth, you're just like, you're just stunned watching. Like, Amy and I finished it and we were just like, we weren't going to watch some Full Metal Alchemist after that. I was like, I need something funny. I need something to like break this up here. But yeah, how do you say it again? Is it
Jadugar?
Jadugar.
I'm assuming. I have not heard anyone pronounce it officially, because the manga is titled just A Witch's Life in Mongol or Mongolia. So, but it's Jadugar, A Witch in Mongolia.
Okay. There you go. Y'all need to go check it out. It is well worth the watch. You're going to fall in love with it, especially if you've liked other shows that have more than just fighting and, that sort of deal. If you've really enjoyed what we've gotten from like Free Rent Apothecary Diaries, I think this is going to be very in that vein, and you're going to love every 100%. Second of it.
So,
boom.
Can't wait.
I'm ready for another dubbed episode of this.
Hey, 2 days, it'll be there.
2 days. 2 days, it'll be there, and we'll be more depressed.
Probably. We'll see.
Depressed. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get something. What's up, Dan? Hope you're doing well, my man. That has been what we've been watching. We've got a lot of news to jump into tonight. So without further ado, let's jump into the gaming discussion this week. And first up, Nintendo ain't sharing. Nintendo draws a line in the sand against its customers. This is by Tom Phillips over at IGN.
So Nintendo might be receiving a refund for the money it spent on U.S. tariffs, but it claims it's under no obligation to pass that money back to consumers, even though they paid higher prices for the Switch 2 products. Shortly before launch last year, Nintendo raised the price of the Switch 2 accessories and subsequently announced a price rise for the original Switch. A year later, and the U.S. Supreme Court has now deemed those tariffs were illegal, with refunds promised to businesses who paid them from a collective $160 billion with a B tariff refund. But what about the consumers who paid more in response to the tariffs? A proposed class action lawsuit is brewing, calling for Nintendo to share its refund with Switch purchases. But the company itself has said it has no reason to do so. As reported by GameFile, Nintendo has asked for the proposed legal action to be dismissed, as customers, quote, received exactly what they bargained and paid for. In other words, it was the customer's decision to buy a product at the stated price at the time, regardless of the reasons why that price may have been higher due to tariffs. Quote, the common thread among plaintiffs' claims is that it is somehow unfair, Nintendo wrote, that Nintendo has not retroactively adjusted its prices for completed sales in response to the outcome of the tariff litigation. But that is not how commercial transactions work. Nintendo or one of its retailers set a price for each product, and consumers decided whether that price was worth paying. Those who bought Nintendo's products received exactly what they bargained and paid for, a console game and or accessory at a price to which both parties agreed. The money plaintiffs paid represents the purchase price of the goods they wanted and received. Plaintiffs are not entitled to a rebate simply because of intervening legal developments related to tariffs. Nintendo goes on to argue that it raised the cost of Switch accessories and consoles due to a myriad of reasons, not just tariffs, including the cost of memory, labor, and shipping. It also absorbed all of the impact of tariffs on the Switch 2, which remains at its launch price today, though that will very shortly be going up in cost. Quote, unlike many of its market peers, Nintendo did not simply increase each product's price by the amount of tariffs it paid on that product or impose an across the board tariff surcharge. Instead, Nintendo imposed modest and selective price adjustments, and it chose to bear the cost of tariffs on some of its most popular products of 2025, including the flagship console Nintendo Switch 2. If a consumer did not want to pay the advertised price, they were free to abstain from purchasing the product or seek out competing products. Nintendo concluded not that not that Xbox or PlayStation have been immune to price rises either. A judge will now rule on whether to allow the proposed class action suit to continue or side with Nintendo and have it dismissed. Now, Zach, obviously, this is very much this. I don't want to say it's a full blown WND, but it is pretty much in the realm of a WND. So, my thing, my thing is, I can see both sides to this, right? Because yes, it's no. It is stick with me now. You know what I mean? It's one of these stick with me now. It is in the similar vein of when scalpers, have something that is in very short supply and high demand, and they are charging triple, quadruple the price of what it normally retails for, and people agree to buy it. You don't hear those people complaining for a refund. You know what I mean? And the scalpers are just like, all right, well, you can wait. If you don't want to pay this price, you can wait. And that's kind of the stances Nintendo was taking. And I'm almost inclined to almost side with Nintendo on this because of scalper culture. Now, again, Nintendo's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I get it. It's like you get another 160 billion in your pocket. It's like, what are you going to do with it? Type of deal. You're not going to lower the prices of those things because now you're using the memory loss issue as your next thing to keep the prices high. Now, yes, they have I know in a few months they're going to raise the price of the Switch 2, but they have kept the price of the Switch 2 the same since it launched over a year ago. That that is more than I think fair, for that kind of time in which we've seen Xbox raise its price 3 different times in less than a year span. Now, the consumer side, it's like, yeah, if you fought the tariffs and said like, hey, this ain't right, maybe we should be entitled, but we still paid for it. Like maybe we should at least get like a snippet of that. Like we're not asking for the whole 160 bill, but maybe just like a couple thousand, maybe just to like, or maybe like a couple hundred. Just throw something back our way for the amount we paid for extra because of this, crap. I don't know what I'm kind of torn between. Like I see both sides of the argument. Nintendo is coming off a little bit childish in this, like they're taking their ball and going home. It's like, nah, you paid for it, you agreed to it, like this is. But also, it's like it's not contractually obligated technically. I mean, you didn't sign saying that you didn't hold them at gunpoint and say you will pay this price. But at the same time, the consumers, like again with everything going up and like tariffs running amok last year, and I think still kind of, but we haven't really talked about it because of memory loss. Maybe it's just a diversion to hold, we're not going to speculate on this. We're not going to go that route. I don't know, Zach, what is your stance on this?
It is very difficult as a company.
Yeah.
To get this kind of windfall and get the money back that you've been charged for tariffs. Okay. Yep. That is difficult. They had to pay their amazing legal team to go out there and get this money back for them.
Yes.
It is the consumer's decision to buy something at a increased price, especially when it is a luxury item. It is not something that is necessary for human existence. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, to say that Nintendo does not have to pay anything back. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't. All right. That's just the fact. Yeah. And I, as a consumer, also am like, man, I know that they had kind of a boon of Switch 1 sales before
Yeah.
like prices went up and all of that kind of deal. And I don't know how much like they sold during that time when things were being tariffed and all of that. I don't, I hate to side with the corporation here. There's no leg to stand on. It's like, it went up in price. We're not, class action lawsuit against the oil companies. We're not doing that against
I was just
eggs.
about to say, like,
we're not doing that
out of
against
all
anybody.
Out of all the stances that you could take, like much bigger companies that you could go after, you decide to go after an international company, a gaming company, a luxury company, and it's always the stuff that it's always involving entertainment because we want to be entertained, and it's like we don't want to pay even though we put the price on the premium price on what we pay for entertainment, we also don't want to pay that price essentially, and it's a weird it's always like the arts, you know what I mean, like kind of a weird correlation, but what's always the first thing, like when you have budget cuts at a school district? Cut the arts, like, and it's like, no, we should do that because that's the only thing that the students feel like they're free and get to express themselves in, to an extent. But then you're cutting that, and it's like luxury. It's like, we love being entertained. We want to watch sports, play video games, all this, but we don't want to pay these prices. And it's like, well, do you want to be entertained or not? Like, this is how it is. This is what the market dictates, and the market has spoken into existence for what the entertainment should be. But again, like you said, like oil companies, when eggs were egregiously overpriced, and it's like no one took a stance and said, all right, can we get refunds on those now? Like, can we get refunds when after the war's over? Like, we had to pay egregious, like, on the like dollars on the barrel for oil. It's like, no, you don't get it. And you don't. Now, I'm not saying people don't fight it and you just don't hear about it, you know what I mean? It's just because people just have come to accept that's what they're going to have to deal with, and that's the way the world is at this point in time. Again, not going down that rabbit hole, but it's just a weird stance for this is the hill that we're going to die on. It's like, we want these tariff refunds from Nintendo that they got. And I get, like, again, caveat to the consumer side of it. Yes, in a world where everything like Xbox and PlayStation are going to be close to about $1,000, or $1,000 for their systems when they go up for the most recent price increase. Games are $80. Like, the new systems are probably going to come out at $1,500. Like, Steam Machine is going to be egregiously priced, and all of this. Like, yes, should we put our foot down on some of these things? Yes, I'm not saying no to that. And I think just all the frustration and like seeing all the layoffs and all the game cancellations and like, a game sells well at launch, but we still have layoffs. And it's like, okay, I get it. Everything's boiling over. It's spilling over from the pot. And we should put our foot down about something. But again, out of all the options you have in this industry, this is the one you take. And again, I get it. Like you said a minute ago, big corporation is getting over $1 billion back in this tariff clause, and cool. It's like, all right, you already make billions as it is. Why can't we get a share of this? I get it. It's frustrating, but again, this is the hill that you're willing to die on. Is weird.
Yeah, because they could easily be like, all right, we'll give you $15 gift card on Nintendo Store.
Yeah.
Okay. That's never going to be good enough. $50.
No.
That's not good enough. $100. Not good enough. So it's like, why bend the knee? Why bend the knee to people that are complaining when I highly doubt if I'm a betting man, Derek, this judge is going to throw this class action lawsuit out. And
100%.
Because it's like, if this happens to Nintendo, it's going to happen to it's going to set precedent, and then it's going to happen to so many other companies, international and national. And that is something that a judge is like, unless it's something egregious and weird, they're not going to set that precedent. And they're going to be looking at other, cases that would have happened as well. So, Nintendo, I do, again, I am pro consumer on this. This is just not the right move. There's other things that you could be voicing your opinions on. You could be boycotting or calling Xbox to have a better standard of how they decide things, layoffs industry wide. There's a lot of other things that you could be using your time. And I know that's not where you can do a class action lawsuit and everything, and you're not making any money off of it. But when you get down to it, it's like, where are you going to put your efforts in? And this is not something that's going to bear fruit. The juice is not worth the squeeze. And even, just to say this, Nintendo did take a lot of the cost up front to be able to keep the Switch 2 at its price until September of this year when it goes up. So that is huge, because Nintendo knows that they have not always been in this position. Where they actually
imagine them trying to do this. Imagine trying to do that with the Wii U. No, it would just not happen.
It would not happen at all. Would not happen at all. Speaking of not happening at all, I hope that we would never have to talk about this dude again. But Ryan Cohen is back, y'all. He rears his ugly head like the Hydra that he is. If you don't remember this, Ryan Cohen is our favorite.
It's half cash, half stock.
Soundbite.
Our favorite soundbite of the show. He is back, and he is talking about PlayStation going digital and the future of GameStop regarding digital games. And we're going to be talking about that. And this is by Virginia Glaze over at IGN.
So GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen has sparked a fiery debate in the gaming community after remarking that sales of physical games are, quote, totally irrelevant to his business. In response, he argued that the bulk of GameStop's income hinges on sales of collectibles rather than gaming software, insisting that the games themselves are chump change compared to the figures, merch, and trading cards GameStop is currently focused on putting in stores. Quote, it doesn't matter at all, he told the outlet. Software, it mattered in the past. Software today makes up less than 12% of the business, and collectibles makes up over half of the business. So it's totally irrelevant. None of those things come at the expense of growth. It's actually the opposite. The more efficient you get, the easier it is to grow. It makes too much sense. That's why I want to buy. It. It's not that complicated. Well, and again, you would think after giving I'm not even going to say arguably, because there is no arguing this, giving the worst interview of this year and the most unprepared interview of this year, you would think no one would interview this, this chucklehead, and he would just kind of go quiet and just like not say anything. Nope, he's back, and not better than ever. Probably worse than ever. And it's strange. Like, yeah, maybe it makes up 12% of his business, but there's also, spoiling one of the quick hits, it's like there's an analyst who says that, secondhand gaming revenue generates over $7 billion with a B dollars in the US. And it's like, wow. Cool. Like, maybe that's why he wants to buy eBay. And we didn't talk, I wanted to put it in there, but there was a more compelling story that broke today that we wanted to put in there. But, he's already bought up 10% of stock in eBay, and he wants to, he's aggressively going after, is like saying, I want you. And it's like, that's a little creeper vibes, but whatever. Do you, I guess. But him saying this, like, at a glance, right, a shot across the bow, I get it, because, over the last, let's say, even 5 years since I've been gone, they have slowly moved to collectibles, because they know that they knew well before, like with the PS1, PS4, and Xbox One era, that games are going, like, more and more people are buying digital. So, they knew that they weren't going to be getting as many physical games circulating into their stores for buybacks and trade-ins and all that kind of stuff. So I get it, and they had to pivot and do collectibles. However, there's two things with this. One, your name is GameStop, not Collectible Stop, not T-shirts, not trading card stop, GameStop. So it is very tone deaf to the people that have supported this, still some loyal fans that have supported you coming to buy games, to say, yeah, totally irrelevant. I don't care about if they're cutting disc. Yeah, whatever. I mean, and I'm still old enough to remember when Xbox, before the PS4 and Xbox One came out, and Xbox was doing, Don Matrick came out and said, yeah, it's going to be always online, blah blah blah. You always have connected. You can't share games. Like, it's very weird. It's going to be a very overbearing process to share games with your friends and all that kind of stuff. And I was, I don't know what the plan would have been, but there was scuttlebutt when I worked for the company, that they were going to move, that they were going to figure out how to do digital licensings, like how to do like sharing digital licensings, or like do them secondhand. And I was like, but then Xbox changed their stance and they didn't have to do that. But it would have been interesting to see how they would have accomplished that in that time period. But also, he says it's focused on collectibles. Now, I know they do the trading cards. They buy back, they do the grading for like Pokemon cards, all that kind of stuff. I know that's generated a good chunk of business for them. But what is one of their top selling ones? Funko Pops. And what did we report on? What was it? Late last year, earlier this year?
Yeah,
Funko
year.
may not have enough money to last another year, and they might be going under. So if that goes, there goes a big chunk of your collectible business. Now I'm not here to scoff, because I bought some T-shirts as well, but your T-shirts are pretty generic in all broadest sense of the term. It's not, and a lot of your other like figures and whatnot. I mean, you could find better quality for the same price on a lot of websites. So a lot of your other collectibles ain't really that game changing. Like, it's convenient. Especially if you got like GameStop exclusive rights to get these figures earlier than other retailers. Cool. Do you? At the same time, your main thing, at the same time, your biggest cash cow may not be having any cash within the next within the next year. It may be going under. And what's going to do that to your business? Like, I'm sure that makes it, like, if you say gaming just makes up 12% of your business, what business does Funko Pop make? I'm sure that, because I mean, I would have a regular customer who would pre-order Funko Pops left and right. Like, they would announce a new line, he'd be back in, and then 2 days later they would announce another new line of Funko Pops from this genre or whatever. He'd be back in to pre-order those. So yeah, like, Funko brings in a lot of business for them, and it's tone deaf to say physical, like, discs going away doesn't matter for you. It's like, okay, dude, like, and I think he's saying that because, again, he is going so aggressive for eBay. Like, he's pretty much just like, you will be mine. Like, it's like very predatory, like very very weird vibes on that, because he's like, oh, you don't want to take our business deal, even though it's not a business deal. Like, go watch just the first 6 minutes of that interview, and you will have a brain aneurysm like we did watching that. But maybe he's saying that because he figures he will get eBay one way or another. And I'm like, dude, I think you are overvaluing your efforts way too much.
Yeah. For me, I think this is one of those weird things.
Weird GameStop decisions.
Weird game, yeah. But just the quote, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all. Like, when you have to say things multiple times.
Twice.
Yeah. Even where it was like, none of these things come at the expense of growth. So it's totally irrelevant. And then the more efficient you get, the easier it is to grow. GameStop is not efficient. GameStop is the most inefficient thing that we have in the American system, other than our government.
I mean, when you have to do a trade anything day where you can bring in taxidermied animals and then like tell your employees that they have to wear hazmat suits because of the weird stuff people might bring in, just to get an influx of cash and get a tax write-off in the event that Funko does go under, you're not efficient at all.
Yeah, and if I was them, I do think if they could get into digital sales, I think that would be a good thing for them.
Yeah.
It would be a good place of revenue, but they have to be something like GOG, which is...
Yeah.
Do you know what GOG is, Derek? I know you're not.
I've heard the term. I don't remember what what it stands for.
Okay, I don't know what it stands for either, but it is a DRM free place where you can buy a game and it's yours. So you're not doing like Steam or anything like that. It's literally you buy it and it's yours. You don't have to worry about it. Arkham bundle. I was seeing this earlier. It literally got all of them, Derek. Even because Steam didn't have Arkham Origins in there, but you can get it for $16.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, it's where it's DRM free. There's no activation or online connection or anything like that. If GameStop could step into this, which they're not going to, because Ryan Cohen wants to do the eBay side of things. And it's like, you already don't want to deal with like physical stuff, and then you're going to buy eBay, you know what I mean? And it doesn't compute on what they're wanting, and what they're doing are just like totally different things. So this would be the way to go if they were going to do a digital version of it. And we might see more companies start up their own, but they're going to be competing against Steam, and going to be competing up against GOG.com, because this is like the second biggest one. Because Steam, you actually have to still like sign in and connect to the internet and all of that kind of stuff. So like, this is the one that's reputable. That's one thing. Because it's hard to be reputable when you're getting keys and all of that. So I think this is him just trying to be like, hey, there's no problem here, y'all. No problem here at all. Don't, nothing wrong.
This is not going to affect our business at all. And then they're going to close another, couple thousand stores. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when gaming makes up 12% of your whole thing, and like you said, GameStop, but only 12% of your stuff is games.
Yeah.
GameStop is not setting the world on fire. Let's just say that. Speaking,
he's trying. He thinks it is, and he thinks it's worth more. It's this industry juggernaut, and it's not.
No, he's setting the building on fire with himself in it, and he's going to asphyxiate from no oxygen after a while. So the flames won't kill you; it's the lack of oxygen.
Which he already gets a lack of oxygen to the brain, as you can tell by that interview. But I digress. It's the old adage. It's
half cash, half stock.
Greatest soundbite of 2026.
Derek, let's talk about our next story, and that is Baldur's Gate and D&D. That's not the right one. Let's find the right one. There we go. That's the right one. Okay. Baldur's Gate and D&D owner Hasbro is down $56 million with an M, and this is by Anthony McGlynn at Games Radar.
We're all aware by now that Baldur's Gate 3 was a huge success by every metric available. Sadly, it's a standout amid a strategy that's not bringing in many other returns for Hasbro. The company overseeing Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast, which is now reportedly reporting substantial losses. The latest earnings report from Hasbro lists an impairment of $56 million on a, quote, refocused digital games portfolio for 2028 and beyond. That's a lot of money to watch go down the sink. This comes as the company cancels yet more unspecified games. Just a few years ago in 2022, Hasbro was all about investing in games, helping to hoist up studios and spreading its many lucrative licenses. It spun up G.I. Joe-related projects in addition to other releases drawing on the Forgotten Realms, as well as original works such as Exodus, the sci-fi RPG headed up by former BioWare devs at new studio Archetype Entertainment. There are others too, and while it's a diverse and promising slate, it also involves keeping a lot of teams afloat while hoping their releases eventually bear fruit. And if big public companies hate anything, it's waiting for things. Hasbro now says that, quote, several entries on its release calendar through 2028 have been canceled. No details are forthcoming on what games have gotten the axe, but prior knowledge provides a few clues. Invoke Studios' Warlock, an action-adventure game set in Forgotten Worlds, is set for release in 2027, as is Exodus. A horror-based game from the studio Skeleton Key also appears to still be happening. And this is, this was an interesting one that, kind of broke today. That, again, Baldur's Gate, mega popular game when it came out. This was like one of the first popular games post-COVID, you know what I mean? Or like post-major COVID, at least, And it won Game of the Year. Like, they had their people out there in suits of armor, like just, like doing their thing. But you know what? When you win Game of the Year, you can get away with stuff like that. So it is very sad and disheartening. Again, like when you decide to go down a path in investing in gaming and making making your properties, especially ones that haven't been as popular like GI Joe in recent memory, and trying to make that relevant again. It's great. Like like it's very nostalgic in certain parts. Like Dungeons and Dragons is still a very popular. Like it made a resurgence over the last half decade, and people are playing it more now more than ever, I feel like, or at least more outspoken about playing it. And again, Wizards of the Coast, Magic the Gathering, both as the card game and as a video game, very popular. Like people like play it nonstop. I remember Magic the Gathering when I was in high school, being very popular amongst people. And so it is disheartening to know that they're about to flush, that they are losing $56 million, even though they've had a Game of the Year award winner. Now, again, more details will come out. Jason Schreier, get on it. You know what I mean? Just get on everything business related for the games industry. I know some more stuff will come out about what happened. I wonder if they also have 14 layers of management that they had to go through to get things, funded. But who knows? But it is disheartening to know that they are losing this money and they have to cancel more unannounced games. And I don't know. I kind of remember Exodus. I don't fully remember it, but I don't know. Like, I feel like after they struck gold with Baldur's Gate 3 and they're trying to recapture it, and they're not hitting that same metric. But not every game they put out is going to be Game of the Year. I mean, again, EA. Okay, I kind of remember this now. Because I know it's said by ex-BioWare developers. But it
just gives me like Warframe and you know what I mean? Like it's just like generic sci-fi. That's just what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
There's nothing here that I'm just like, oh my God, I gotta play it.
Right. So I understand they struck gold with Baldur's Gate, but not every game is going to do that. And that's okay, because again, somebody I know at EA, we talked about it, I think a week or two ago, that's saying, oh, FIFA makes so much money, that's why we can do an Unravel, because it's something that won't make us a ton of money, but it's fun, creative, artsy fartsy type of game that people will speak to a different type of audience. And we want to expand our portfolio. And that's okay. Like, not everything has to be a home run. You can hit a double and still be effective and still make money if you market it and you do the games correctly. But again, when your last hit was almost a half decade ago now, Baldur's Gate, it's been 4 years since Baldur's Gate has been out, I think. When it's been a half decade, you need to find something again. It's sort of like, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but again, Media Molecule hasn't really done anything. They took 10 years to do Dreams, and it came out, and it was not a dream. It was almost a nightmare, at least for Sony. And now mum's the word. Like, we haven't really seen anything from them, so it's like, okay, what are you guys going to do? So I get it. As investors, as another corporation, you need to start having some, you invest all this money into these studios and making these IPs, you need to get some ROI. However, you don't need, if they're banking on doing a Baldur's Gate every time, they're going to be sorely disappointed, and they're going to pretty much close a bunch more studios.
Yeah, because it takes time to make something like Baldur's Gate. And to be clear, Larian Studios is not owned by Hasbro. They were the ones that made Baldur's Gate 3, and they've already said that they're not making Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 4. They're working on a totally different franchise that's their own. So it's like, okay, you have to like make something else, and you're coming in with like, oh, we're going to do GI Joe and all of that. And it's like, GI Joe is like so far from the zeitgeist. Like I don't even remember. I remember we had like the movies like in the 2010s or whatever it came out.
Yeah.
But that didn't set the world on fire in any stretch of the imagination or anything. And you've got Exodus, and I don't even know what Forgotten Worlds is, you know. You've got all of these properties, but to spin up various things, you need to go the Disney route. And instead of having your own studios, you need to continue to get people like Larian to make your games for you. That way you aren't having all of this overhead of having to have these studios that eventually you cancel their game because it's taking too long, and then you have to lay off a bunch of people. That's not the way this needs to be. Like, people that don't know gaming do not need to be a publisher, do not need developers under them, because it is ridiculous what we are seeing in the industry, where you do have people that will spend the money to have a more artistic vision be under them while they have something that's generating more money, like Call of Duty. But we also see what that gets to eventually. If the Call of Duties, if the other things aren't making money, we're looking at you, Xbox, and you get to this point where you have to cut the quote unquote fat, the arts, out of your company because you didn't know how to manage things without 14 layers of bull crap. And we're seeing Hasbro here. They don't know their butt from a hole in the ground. Hasbro, email me. I will come, I will run all your studios, and I will make things work. Okay. I say this every time when we have people that don't know how to run a gaming studio. I don't know how to make games. I have no idea, but I know, what will sell. I know how to run a business, and I know what sells to gamers. And that is the thing that a lot of these CEOs don't know, is what gaming is and what people actually buy, because you have people like Don Matrick that didn't know his butt from a hole in the ground, as my grandfather would say, and trying to do all of these things that are not going to work. And you see this with Hasbro. It's like, nobody's going to buy a GI Joe game. What you do, Derek, here's a free thing, Hasbro.
Yeah.
You get with Fortnite and you say, hey, Fortnite, I want to license out GI Joe, and you get people excited about GI Joe in a new way. You don't make your own freaking game. It's stupid.
Yeah.
There's other ways of doing this. So that is my rant here. $56 million. That is inexcusable to lose that much money because you don't know how to manage your games portfolio. And again, Wizards of the Coast, they charge way too much freaking money for their stuff. They're nickel and diming people. They're constantly wanting more people to buy, and they've been bad recently of just putting out kind of slop in their D&D side of things with their guides and all of that. You got to do better. Do better, okay? That's just the end of it all. High
as Wu-Tang. Yeah, I was going to address that too. They did not make Sackboy's Big Adventure. That was Sumo Digital. Sumo Digital made that while they were finishing up on Dream support, I guess. I forget the whole timeline of that, but Sumo Digital did Sackboy's Big Adventure, which Sumo Digital almost has done as many Sackboy or Little Big Planet games as Media Molecule, but that's none of my business.
Yeah. Sad times. You know what's not sad is by hitting that like button right now. You can make myself very happy. Okay. I might not be working for Hasbro, but I could. But if you hit that like button, I'm one step away from working from Hasbro and having to cut a bunch of people's jobs because my predecessor would suck at their job. So hit that like button so I don't have to go work at Hasbro. Maybe I'll get a golden parachute. What do you think, Derek? Do you think I can get a golden parachute at Hasbro?
Oh, 100%. If that sleazebag Bobby Kotick can get, a golden parachute, you definitely can.
That's what I'm talking about. Not golden handcuffs. I don't want golden handcuffs. I want that parachute. No. You know what I mean? I want to be able to retire in Tahiti and, be able to read manga and watch anime and play video games all day. Not have to worry about money. Not have to worry about, can I order DoorDash tonight or not?
Exactly.
I don't know if they got DoorDash in Tahiti, but I'm hoping that they do.
They'll have some equivalent.
They'll have something. They'll have something. Speaking of having something, Bethesda is talking about its future, and there's some good possibilities, but I have to temper everybody on this.
Yeah.
The last time Bethesda showed their hand at a lot of different projects,
yeah,
we're still waiting
some
on
of them
one
are
of those
still
games.
not out.
Yeah, we're still waiting on some of those games. So, yeah, this is by Marcus Stewart over at Game Informer.
So Bethesda Game Studios has penned a lengthy studio letter on the developer's project pipeline for the next several years. Among the updates are confirmation of multiple Fallout projects, including Fallout 5, and notes about The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield. Bethesda details the future of Fallout, confirming that Fallout 5 is currently in pre-production, saying it, quote, remains our long-range destination. This echoes a similar statement made in 2022 when he said Fallout 5 would arrive after The Elder Scrolls 6, which will likely still be the case. The game is being developed using Creation Engine 3, Bethesda's next-generation game engine that will also power The Elder Scrolls 6. Additionally, multiple other Fallout projects are in the works. Bethesda confirms it is developing remasters of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, the former of which was leaked in court documents back in 2023. There are no release windows for these remasters, however. Fallout 76 will receive its next major expansion in 2027, called Raven Rock, a prequel story to Fallout 3. Fallout Shelter will receive new seasons, while Bethesda teases the unscripted TV adaptation of the mobile game that's currently in development at Amazon. In the last Fallout-related update, Bethesda confirmed it is working with Obsidian Entertainment on a new Fallout game, corroborating an earlier report that Obsidian had been mandated to pivot to this project, canceling an Avowed sequel in the process. Bethesda's next big project is The Elder Scrolls 6, a project it describes as, quote, our primary development focus today, with the majority of our team currently working on the next chapter of the franchise. The next chapter is on the way. We're where we plan to be, loving how it looks and playing it every day, Bethesda writes. As for Bethesda's newest IP, Starfield, the team is not done with that universe. He states that Year 3 of the game will bring new stories, further gameplay improvements, and more as Bethesda prepares to launch new Starfield content, or Starborn content, I think that's what it's called, in 2027. Now, again, some of this, especially with like the Fallout, like the just Fallout 5, Fallout 3, and New Vegas Remastered, those were, I think, some of like they kind of got Ubisoft with this in a sense, because it's like the worst kept secret, because stuff kept getting like rumored and leaked and everything. So it was like the inevitable, like, okay, cool, you've just made it official. Like, we already knew these were things. You just said, okay, we are from our mouth to you, to your ears, we are saying it's a real thing.
It felt like Donald Trump announcing that he was running for re-election the last time.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
we already know, dog. We already know,
Like,
dog. Like,
cool,
no
thanks,
surprise.
I guess. Like,
no
yeah.
surprise. Going to be running again. I'm here, America. We're gonna make it great again.
again, make it great again. The sequel. So
part two. That's French. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge.
But again, and again, you know, Obsidian pivoting to work on this Fallout project. You know, again, we kind of already were hinted at that. You know, when we talked about it a week or two ago.
Yeah.
Will it be Will it be New Vegas 2? Will it be whatever? Only time will tell. But again, I like how they insert about Elder Scrolls 6. It's like remains our focus, and like it's been your focus for the last, you know, couple of years. I know Starfield was like their next big thing, but this is why you don't announce a game like. And I know it's few and far between. Like I remember Square Enix like announcing JRPGs and like 10 years out, and everyone's like, hey, can you stop doing this? Like, can you announce a game closer to release? Because we're tired of waiting for it. And, you know, and then getting all this hype and anticipation, and then it doesn't live up to expectations or our expectations, no matter how skewed they are.
Yeah.
they need to get off the pot with Elder Scrolls 6. And again, we're coming up on a decade of it being released, and it's still a few years off, and or of it being announced, and it's still a few years off. And it's like, cool, like, can we at least see something on it, like just concept art at least, or something? Can we get a scrap? Can we please get some scraps? But so please, I beg of you, I'm hungry.
Elder Scrolls 6 has lasted longer than Destiny lasted. The wait for Elder Scrolls 6.
That's a gut punch. That is a gut punch. Zach's about to start a war. Oh, wow. I think back to this old Elder Scrolls 6 has been in development longer than the Confederacy. So,
please, sir,
may I
have
some more? Exactly.
How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? You know what I mean?
True. You know, it's like you can't get dessert if you don't eat your vegetables. As we were always told growing up. I digress. Cool. Like the positives are from this is like, cool, we are getting a Fallout 3 remastered. I know people love that game to death. New Vegas as well. People love that game to the, to heaven and back. Fallout 5 being a thing, going to be the next thing after Elder Scrolls 6. We'll see that in probably 2045. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully not like with Asha Sharma, wanting to get out games at a faster pace. I do like that they're telling the fans, like, no matter how, I don't know how big the fan base is anymore, that's like, hey, Fallout Shelter, we haven't forgotten about you. We're going to give you updates. I forgot about the TV adaptation that they were doing. I did too. I remember talking about, I think it was like a quick hit or something like that, but I forgot that it was in development as a TV adaptation. Cool to, that they haven't forgotten about that, because most companies with a game that size is like, after a few years, we're just gonna sunset it, not talk about it anymore. Starfield, as muddled and underwhelming as that has been since it launched, that the fact that they're still trying to like give it life and give it a chance, a la No Man's Sky type of thing, is a good thing to see. But again, I don't mean to damper all of this, because talking about video games is like, I'm glad we're talking about video game in the works or video games currently these last couple of weeks, instead of just talking about layoffs or closures or bad business decisions and whatnot. But we got to address the elephant in the room. This is coming off the back of 1,600 people being laid off at Xbox, another 1,600 in the works at some point down the road, and Bethesda and their game studios were gutted in a lot of places. ZeniMax and id were the worst offenders. Obsidian was no stranger to layoffs as well. But you gotta wonder, because there's scuttlebutt saying that like, oh well, how are they going to make the games that did? And it's like, oh, we're fine. It's like, are you sure you're going to be fine making games going forward with the size of this team that you have now? This is coming off the heels of all of this. Is this just to quiet the naysayers, to shut up the fans? It's like, hey, we've had a lot of negative, but here, like, look, a sleight of hand type of thing. Like, look at here, like, look at the dangling keys. Like, you gotta have that in the back of your mind. Is like, were these announcements? Because this also feels like, and again, I know there was some, there's a stigma to the E3 that Bethesda had when they announced Elder Scrolls 6, like they probably wanted to avoid that, because Elder Scrolls 6 is not even, they haven't even shown anything other than a title screen. And for them to announce a Fallout 5 at like an event would just be weird, and it would be, tone deaf in my opinion. But this feels like in Marvel's heyday, right? When they were announcing Phase 3, like the epilogue to, or like the last lap to the Infinity War saga. When they were announcing it, they had this big production song and dance, and everyone, like, they had people in the theater, everyone went crazy. And then this is before, when it was just the DC EU, the extended universe, before James Gunn took over. When they did a conference call and just said, oh, this is going to be our slate that we planned out. No pomp and circumstance, no fanfare, no whatsoever. They just kind of did it to like a fart in the wind type of deal. And this kind of feels very similar. Like, yes, again, we've gotten rumors and, leaks about a lot of their projects that they announced in this letter, but it also feels very like DCEU, where they just kind of like were announced vomited just what they're like a bunch of projects they're working on with no plan in sight, no roadmap other than Fallout 5 coming out after Elder Scrolls 6. And it makes you wonder, it's like, how dedicated are they going to be to this? Like, how excited are people going to be to get this, knowing that Asha Sharma is basically putting a proverbial gun to their head, and it's like, look, y'all have to start producing or y'all are next.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like they are like, this is our wish list of things that we want to do.
Yeah.
And until I see more concrete, evidence that things are actually getting done in a timely fashion, we'll see. I know Oblivion's remaster came out and we didn't really know anything. We had a little hints like a few months before, and then it came out. So with Obsidian no longer working on Avowed or really anything that they are making there, it's just going to be like a Fallout studio at the moment.
Yeah.
I think the way that Obsidian has worked, and yes, they did have layoffs, the way that they are able to really pump out content out of their studio, I think that they will be a powerhouse. And I'm not saying this will happen, Derek.
Yeah.
But this could happen. Obsidian replaces Bethesda in the hierarchy of things, because I feel like Asha is going to care more about things getting done than what has been the past and all of this kind of stuff. She does not care about the past.
No. And they, you're talking about getting things done. I mean, again, we all have our opinions about the 3 games they put out last year, but they put out 3 games in a single calendar year. And that's that's stuff getting done. Like, they put it one in the front, one at the end, and I think there was probably one in the Grounded was summer. Grounded 2 was summer, like the early access anyway, and then Outer Worlds 2 was in the fall. So they put beginning, middle, end. They had 3 game releases, and again, none of them were like not home runs. They were doubles for a lot of them. Maybe one triple that in there, but they got it done. They got their games out. They didn't delay anything. And Asha's like, hey, if we partner you with someone who can help you out, like maybe increase the quality of the games you make, or have you help them get out a bigger budget game that you can let the bones of, that'll do. And I'm much rather be efficient than, having to be like, take forever and make it an 8 out of 10.
Done is better than perfect, and let's be honest, Bethesda isn't known for making perfect games. They've got the buggiest, jankiest things out there. So
I mean, when you make a tongue-in-cheek joke at your own E3 conference about how buggy your games are, you know what you are.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, Obsidian, I can see replacing or being higher on the pecking order than that. I do want to look at a few numbers here.
Yeah.
I asked Claude how many active users we have for Fallout Shelter, because I remember when it came out before Fallout 4, and it actually did really well. Like, it was pretty big. And these are only Steam numbers. Okay. This is not including Android, iOS, anything like that. Current is between 2,000 and 4,000 concurrent on Steam. So there's still people playing, but it's not like crazy.
Oh, yeah. Not what it was in its heyday.
Yeah, the peak was 42,500.
Wow.
Wow. It is a pretty big drop off, but I think this is going to be like them making the show. It's a little too late. It's like the Among Us show that came out. It's like you missed the time to make a show and people actually care about it. And it's like, okay, when I remember Summer Games Fest, it was like, oh, I totally forgot that they even made a show, you know, because the people came out and everything. So yeah, I think with seeing all of these things, it's like, okay, we know that these pieces are on the board, but it's like, will they be pawns, or will they actually function as the flagships that they're wanting them to be? And that is going to be the tell of what is going to happen with Bethesda ZeniMax as an overall thing. And it is nice to see that Fallout 76 is getting more content and everything, because we did talk about ZeniMax doing a little bit more support work as well for them. So I want to see where we go in a year. What is, you know, do we get a game out in a year? You know, has things been stewing long enough? You know, has Fallout 3, because we did talk about Fallout 3, I want to say a few months ago, that might be happening, and Fallout New Vegas, that might, you know, remasters might be happening. So it's like, okay, has this been, you know, Ubisoft, and we've been talking about it this long, and it's like, or is it just like, oh, this would be a good idea, and they finally greenlight it? I don't know, but I think when you get down to it, Asha, she has to do this song and dance of, okay, we've got to talk about where we're going, what we're doing, so people keep faith, so they buy things, they keep Game Pass, because now we've lost 5 studios. Why do I keep Game Pass? Okay, well, we got all these games that are coming out in the future and everything. So it's like, if you forget that you have a subscription, and then you hear, oh, well, a lot of things are leaving Netflix, it's like, oh yeah, I have Netflix. I probably should cancel that, since there's not going to be as many games or many things on there. You know, 100%. This is a way for her to kind of quell that, and also say, all right, Bethesda, you're now under my observation and under my thumb. You're not going to operate the way you used to. Like, Todd might be the Bethesda guy, but I am your Lord Commander. You know,
he answers to me.
Yeah, you bend the knee to me. You know, the first of my name, defender of the realm. You know, all of those things. That's what Asha is here. So, any final thoughts on this, Derek?
Well, I was just going to ask you. Dan says they may be buggy, but they are still fun. I mean, true. I'm not going to deny that. But again, if it's game-breaking bugs, how enjoyable is that in actuality?
True,
anyway,
true.
I do want to pose just a tongue-in-cheek question. Do you think, what's the likelihood of us getting the Fallout 3 remaster, Fallout New Vegas remaster, and whatever Obsidian's new Fallout project is before Elder Scrolls 6? Like, do we get all 3 before we get Elder Scrolls 6? Like, I could definitely see the remasters.
I can see the remasters. If Obsidian didn't lose people, I think both remasters for sure. I say at least one of the remasters, maybe Vegas as well. But yeah, I feel like we will see a lot more production from ZeniMax and from Obsidian than we do Bethesda, because I feel like they are going to fight and slow things down, because that's not the speed that they go at. This is our creative process, and it's like, dude, it hasn't worked in 20 years. You need to make some changes. And if we continue to see that, I think we see some leadership changes at Bethesda. Dan says, here's my question. Will we get them before GTA 6? No.
We will not. GTA 6 is definitely locked in for November. So unless they already have the Fallout 3 remaster they've been working on for a while, like ready to go, like a surprise launch, like Oblivion did, cool. We might get at least one of them, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it, because I feel like they would have already said, hey, we've got Fallout 3 coming out. Like, that would be a huge boon in this time of all the crap that's going on. So I don't think we see that. Plus, we already have the big game that is coming out in the fall, and I don't think they want to cannibalize Gears E-Day for Fallout 3 and everything.
Yeah.
One case that I will make is I've been seeing this, Derek, and this is Star Wars Genesis. Okay, I'm just gonna play a little gameplay here, and this is a mod for Starfield, a PC mod for Starfield that literally skins the whole game, gives you everything as it is in the Star Wars universe.
Interesting.
So, like, you can pick different characters, all of that kind of stuff. You can make your own characters. You go to Coruscant. I think this is more like in the Empire time and everything, but you can learn the Force. You could be a bounty hunter, all of this. And the more that I'm seeing it, and this is like the 8.3 version.
Yeah.
They're supporting it. And like, you have to buy the game, and then you have to buy this and everything.
Right.
But dude, I watched the video on it. I'm like, I might have to get this mod. Like, I might have to play this, because it does look pretty cool. Like, and the people that have played is like, this is the Star Wars game that would have been awesome if Lucasfilm never got bought. And it's like,
right.
What if this is what we got at the start of Starfield instead of what we got at the start of Starfield? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
It just looks dope, dude. Like, I'm excited to see where more of this goes. And I'm also, it's crazy that this is like out and about and hasn't been squashed by Disney.
Right. That's a good point.
You know, because it feels like this could have easily been, you know, squashed and ceased and desist and all that kind of stuff by Disney. Sure. You know, like, this is Dantooine and everything right here, which we, you know, of course, seen in Knights of the Republic 1 and 2, and also the planet that gets blown up in episode 4, which was a Jedi temple and all of that. So, you know, we've got a temple guard here. This is temple guard right there. You know what I mean?
Scratches that Star Wars itch for you.
It does. It does. And that might be the only way that I get all the way through Starfield. So,
hey,
well,
whatever it takes, right?
Technically, it's not Starfield. Star Wars Genesis. If y'all want to go check that out, go check it out. Look it up on YouTube. Y'all see more of the stuff there. Everybody, we've got a Patreon. And everybody that goes over the Patreon, they say, Zach, this is the best money I spend all month, because it helps a 1.5 person business out, keep the lights and mics on. I want to put good into the world. And they say, I wish I could give more money. And I say, it's okay. $1 makes Derek holler. Okay. Like, if you got money to give, that's awesome. If you don't, get a free plan. All right. Yeah. It's free. We're not charging you anything for it.
You know, share it with somebody that you love.
Share it with somebody you love. It helps us out a ton. It helps us continue to keep stuff going, helps us buy some, you know, games here and there when we want to stream certain stuff or be able to have a conversation. So if you want to support us, go over to patreon.com/nerdcave, pick your very own Nerd Cave membership. Patreon.com/nerdcave, become part of the show, part of the crew today. Do it right now. Do it right now. So who is the half, you or Amy? I'm the one. Derek is the half.
Yeah, I was gonna say the two. It should be the two people that are on the screen right now. So I'm always the half by default.
Derek's always the half by default. So, you know, I'm glad that he's my half. Amy is my whole though. Amy is the one that makes me whole. So, but Derek he's always there. He's always there. Is like a good punching bag. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Just over there in the corner, just ready for me to just like. You know.
And then but little does he know I'm Jared. You hit me and nothing happens. I'm just like, pathetic.
Yeah. But did he win the Tournament of Power?
He almost did.
Almost is only good with horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah, you always lose to the power of friendship. Let's just, it's whatever.
Exactly. The power of friendship. Derek, with the power of friendship, let's go through these Patreon quick hits.
So starting off, The Blood of Dawnwalker has gone gold ahead of its September launch. Following that, The Blood of Dawnwalker will get a physical release on disc that includes the full game. Kind of a little tongue-in-cheek jab to Sony there. The Blood of Dawnwalker director confirms save data can be transferred to future games. The Witcher remake shouldn't be open world, says lead story designer on the original 2007 game. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced New Game Plus mode is in development. Mortal Shell's Fiscal Revered Edition has been very popular, it turns out, with supply at numerous retailers now fully reserved. Star Ocean, the second story R, gets a Switch 2 edition, but with the usual Square Enix caveats. Crimson Desert now has cross-save support. The open beta for Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls runs from tomorrow through Sunday. God of War show to recast Kratos after Ryan Hurst tears bicep while filming stunt. Pokemon Go fans react in disgust as players handpicked to attend exclusive Times Square event sell their prized Mewtwo for thousands of dollars, breaking the game's rules. Assassin's Creed Hexy reportedly set to launch in June of next year, with a new fear system being added. Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 3, and Star Wars KOTOR remake hinted at for 2028 release. GTA 6 first week of pre-orders have reportedly generated $260 million in global digital spending. The Call of Duty movie officially is set in the Modern Warfare universe. Stardew Valley is coming to Magic the Gathering on July 27th with a limited secret layer drop. Call of Duty Ambiance website lets you fall asleep to nostalgic Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, and I had some thoughts on that, but I'm going to keep those to myself. Steam Machine engineers at Valve signal grim future as memory crisis is still getting worse. ZA/UM announces layoffs affecting up to 32 staff 2 months after Zero Parades launched to critical acclaim, and that's the studio that also did the acclaimed Disco Elysium. Jennifer English steps away from Tides of Annihilation role due to health concerns. Mortal Kombat 2 comes to HBO Max tomorrow. Marathon game director Joseph Ziegler is leaving Bungie. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim officially joins The Witcher 3 with 65 million units sold. Black Flag Resynced sales have hit 3 million copies worldwide. Sony patents PlayStation modular controller with touchscreen interface. DC announces new tag fighting game, leaving Injustice fans confused. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 beta dates have been confirmed for August 21st through the 25th for early access, and then the following week, August 28th through September 1st, will be the open beta. Cliff Bleszinski reveals a struggle with alcoholism and plots to return to video game development. id Software current and former employees disagree with Hugo Martin's comments that the studio hasn't been nerfed by layoffs. Only 7 PlayStation games managed to sell over 100,000 physical copies in the US year to date. Star Wars KOTOR remake reportedly could be re-revealed this year. Konami announces Gamescom lineup, including Castlevania Belmont's Curse and Silent Hill Townfall. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Songs of the Past will be revealed during Gamescom's opening night livestream. Analyst says the global secondhand video game market is valued at $7.2 billion with a B, but Sony's decision to kill PlayStation Disc threatens to destroy it. Recreation 2 announced despite studio closure with just 9 months after the original Recreation arrived. A free Dungeon Crawler Carl Flash game is now available to play online, and it stars Princess Donut. Ex-Forza Horizon director trades a line from the failure of well-meaning Game Pass to the current Xbox layoffs. Xbox says more exclusives are coming, but tells players not to overly fixate on single-player games. EA Sports UFC 6 leads game sales for June, a month where spending fell 21% compared to last year. Insomniac interview reveals Marvel's Wolverine takes place when the X-Men don't yet exist. And lastly, Microsoft announces original Xbox game backwards compatibility on PC with new features and achievements.
Derek.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, Zach's going to be on this.
It's not very accurate, I will tell you that.
Yeah.
Nobody's
But also,
hearing
it's
the
a Flash
sound.
game.
It is a Flash game. I've got to share the sound with everybody.
Hi, Maeve.
Oh, everybody's hearing this. Okay, never mind. Are you hearing that? The pews?
Yeah.
Okay, dope.
New achievement. You
Guys, this is so
excelled in
awesome.
Flash games as a child. You shot little cherries on your screen. Reward? No, show off your score.
12 cherries, y'all. So if y'all want to play this, I'm going to pop this in the chat for all of my Dungeon Crawler Carl fans. This is the greatest thing ever. I will be playing this instead of our Tuesday stream of Halo.
Halo.
Derek's like, do we finish the show? No.
We're all stuck here now.
The lighting, Derek. The lighting.
No.
Dancing tonight. It's Dirty Shirley time.
Yeah, it's not as accurate as I want it to be, but
That'll be all.
Again,
21,
Flash game.
baby.
Achievement. You excelled in Flash games as a child. You shot
Thank you,
little
Jeff.
cherries on your screen.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Derek, great
Yeah.
show tonight. I did want to say the Jennifer English thing. I hope she gets better. She is going to be still
too.
attached to the project, apparently, as an advisory role. But they are going to be, I think they are, she like kind of put somebody into her position, like, hey, this person should take over and everything. This is
Yeah.
a game that I'm actually really excited for because it is like a,
Right.
we saw like some really cool gameplay at Summer Games Fest. It's like Arthurian legend stuff and all of that. So I am really, really excited about that game. And I do hope the Game Awards best voice actor, well, best actor. Yeah, she got best actor last year for Mael. So I hope her a good and fast recovery. Cliff Blazinski. I watched a video on him the other day and like his rise and all of that. I hope he comes back and crushes it, Derek. I hope
Me
he comes
too.
back and crushes it because he gave me one of my favorite franchises of all time, which is Gears of War. And I know like we had Lawbreakers, and then there was like there was one that came out like right after that from them that was just kind of like a quick cash grab.
Yeah, I forget what the name. I remember Lawbreakers. I don't remember the game that came out after that.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you had 2 duds, but you had 3 amazing games, you know, that literally set the Xbox 360 on fire. So
Yeah.
I hope he gets, you know, the help that he needs to deal with the struggles and everything, and getting back in video games. Let's do this. Let's see where we can go. Let's see what we can do. It's going to be awesome.
He'll do better than David Jaffe, that's for sure. Just saying.
Just saying. Well, there we have it, everybody. That is our episode of the Nerd Cave News tonight. We hope that you enjoyed it. We'll be back on Tuesday. We're going to be playing a little game called Halo. I know you probably haven't heard of it before, but it's an old game. It's an old game. You know, a lot of people used to talk about it and everything. I did get a remaster because all the geezers wanted it and everything. So we're going to be playing Halo Campaign Evolved. It's going to be a great time. Thank y'all so much for being here and watching the show. This has been Zach.
And Derek.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye-bye.